Hello, thanks for tuning in to Vandalay Guitar Repair. I'm your host Sean. Today on the workbench, and I have this really cool Fender Telecaster Deluxe. So it's got some pretty serious wiring issues. This full range pickup was not working. I was able to get it working by messing with the switch, but the switch is shot, and the wiring itself is just not done well. So we're going to replace the switch. We're going to replace all the potentiometers. I couldn't find a ground going from the bridge. We need to do that. And also, this is not a Fender full range pickup. This is actually a Seymour Duncan Invader underneath this. They just put the cover over. So we're going to put the right pickup in it. And yeah. So with that being said, I already have the screws out of the pick guard. The strings are gross. I'm just going to cut them off. Let me cut those off and I'll show you what's going on the inside. Alright, so this is what we have here. I mean, it's just a mess. I'm not gonna try to fix any of it. I'm just gonna put all new stuff in it. And this switch is it's just shot. I was able to bend it to get it to work. It was shorting out, but there's just globs of solder on everything. This is the Seymour Duncan. So yeah, well, it's a good pickup though. I like them. I'm gonna pull these knobs off, and I'm just gonna cut the wires loose. And you know what? I just found the ground going into the bridge. Oh, good. I don't like the way it's done there. So let me. Geez. I mean, I don't even like looking at it. It makes me a little queasy. Let me go ahead and cut this stuff free, and we'll take a look at how we're going to set everything up. Okay. Okay. Another problem with this too, which there's so much solder I couldn't tell on many, but someone put 250K pots in here. That does not work with these wide range pickups, or with humbuckers in general. It's just not the best. It cuts all the treble out. So originally in the 70s, these wide range Fender pickups came with I think they were like 1,000K pots, but the reissues, which is of course what we have now, work really well with 500K. So I'm replacing this with 500K pots. And like I say, I don't even know if I'm going to try to desolder this stuff. I think I'm just going to cut it all. Yeah, it's just going to be easier. Just going to be easier. The output jack seems to be fine. I shouldn't have to do anything with that. All I'm doing with this guitar is wiring it. It is going on to my buddy Michael at Paul Dean Guitars for a complete setup, etc. afterwards. Ooh, it's a rat's nest. I assume that's what a rat's nest is like. I don't honestly know, but there we go. Pull this pickup out and get the switch tip off and the switch out. We will we'll start setting up the new stuff. Okay, so I just cut all this out, and I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna try to save any of it. The wiring might be okay, but otherwise, I'm just gonna toss it out. So I may just keep some of the wiring. It's just good wire, but there's a big glob of solder here, and this has some. Well, I don't know. It has some copper tape in here. There is really, to be honest, no reason to shield something with humbuckers. What happens a lot of times, especially when you have tight cavities and you try to do a lot of shielding, things ground out on it. I mean, if things need to be shielded, I do. I don't think there's any reason for this to be shielded. I'm not going to take this out. I did rip some of it out. I had to. But I'm not going to add any. I just don't think it's needed. If it's loud when we put it back together, which it shouldn't be, then we'll go from there. Otherwise, let me pull this Seymour Duncan out, and we'll go from there. All right, Seymour Duncan is out. I do like these pickups, so I'll give it back to him. Maybe use it for another project. So let's put the Fender pickup in, and we'll just wire everything up. It shouldn't take too long from here. All right, so I have to admit it's a little tricky to mount one of these pickups. It has 4 screws, which is neat because you can really adjust it well. So I'm pushing these through, and what I'm going to do is put a piece of tape on the top. That way it won't fall through. Painter's tape is great. Actually, go down a little lower. Doesn't impede the pickup. I'm going to have to take this right off anyway. I just want to get the pickup started. So I'm going to do this. Put the new springs on. And this pickup's going to slide right on here. Okay, so now, one at a time, I'm going to just start threading the screw, and hopefully the tape will hold the others. That is the goal. Again, it can be a little tricky. Just gotta take your time with it. Kind of guide it with one finger. Whoops. I didn't lose that. This one started. Pull the tape off here. I'm just going to start this one the same way. I just barely get them threaded. There's two. Just going to do it with the other two. Okay. So there we go. They're all started. I'm just going to tighten them up a little bit, because I'm not even going to adjust the height on these. Again, going right to Paul Dean guitars for setup. I have plastic on this, so I'm going to keep that on there. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Now I believe these fenders are black is hot, like a Seymour Duncan. This red color is negative, and yeah, it looks like it has some ground in there too. I'm going to cut this back some so I can see what's going on. Cut it back this far. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, I thought there was a bare ground in there too. So that will go with the red. And again, do this at home, kids. Because that can burn you pretty bad too, let alone everything else. My fingers are so callous from decades of playing bass. It hurt me. But it may hurt you. All right, so these two will go together. But I will, you know what, let's take a little bit more of this ground off. Okay. And this one, I said covered up. Always put your sharp stuff away. And as nice as this is, oh, there you go. Let me strip this back. There we go. Okay. We're going to do the same thing for this. Strip back the wire some. Have it ready. grounds together. Alright. Alright, I'm putting the new switch in. Nothing to it. What I generally like to do is, once I get it in, is just take some pliers and gently tighten it. I mean, you can hand tighten it, but it usually takes a little bit more. So I'm very gentle not to strip anything or to break anything. Just do like less than a quarter turn. Usually hold it nice and tight. Alright, there we go. All good. Yep. That's set the right way. Let's go ahead and put the potentiometers in, and then we'll wire everything up. Okay, so I have these ready. I broke off. There's a tab on most of these. I broke it off. There's no reason to. What I'm going to do really quickly is just clean each of these. Even though they're new, I like to go ahead and just give them a squirt of deoxit. And move them around. And I'm going to do that to each one of these, and then I'm going to go ahead and, install them. All right. They are installed. I'm going to tighten them up. I just usually use a big 1/2-inch socket, or 1/2-inch drive socket, and twist it by hand. That usually torques it just enough so it's not too tight, but they won't go anywhere. All right, so hang on here, and we'll start wiring this stuff up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just sand the back of this just a little bit. That'll help the solder to stick. And I'm going to start out by turning on my fan. It might be loud for just a moment. All right, I'm going to put some solder on each of these potentiometers. Two sections on these. All right. And I'm going to wire this 60s fashion, since these pickups came out in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, something like that. So it's how it would have been wired from the factory. And let's see here. Let's start with the treble pickup. Get it out of my way. So again, got the red and the bare as ground. So what I want to do to make sure this doesn't ground out anything is just put a little bit of shrink on that. Just a little piece. Should be enough. Yep, that'll be fine. I'm going to tin these. A little bit more on the ground because I want that to stick well. And then I'm going to tin my capacitors. So this is going to go to positive right there. This is also going to go to the positive here. I'm bending this around. And this is going to go to the first post on the tone. Yeah, there we go. I can move that around some once it's soldered in. And then this center post is going to ground to here, so I'm just going to get a short piece of wire and do that. And this third post is going to ground to here. I'm going to get a short piece of wire and do that. First things first, let's get these soldered in. Should be us there. Should be us there. And I want to ground this right here. Manipulate this wire a little. There we go. All right. Let's run those short pieces of wire. All right, we're going to tin these. Part's already tinned. All right. Say this is going to go from the center and then around some. Oops. And go ahead and solder that. Should be us. Quite. There we go. And bring that on around. There we go. All right, that should be good there. And then this one, going to go from here. Excuse me, from here, the third one, to the top. Be fine. There. And then this middle one is going to go up to the switch. So let me do this to the rest of them, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so this is the way I like to see things. Everything is pretty well wired up, going up to the switch here, which still looks a little messy, but I'll do some wire management here in a moment. So the only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to wire some of this. I'm going to wire the output jack up to the switch and to the pots, and then I like to run a ground from each pot all the way around, and that's it, and we should be done. But nice neat wiring. That's just so much better. This thing's going to sound great. So first off, let me go ahead and wire up the output, and then we're going to go ahead and wire the grounds. Hang tight here. Put you someplace where you can see. All right, so this is from the positive output. It goes right into the middle of the switch. And this is one of the few times I don't tin first, because I need to snake it through both of these and then bend it around. And it's just less stiff if I don't tin it.
And see there, I just kind of make a hook and tighten that thing up like that. Squeeze it with the pliers, helps. And then we're going to go ahead and hit that with some solder. Alright, that should be us. I'm going to run a ground from the switch too. I mean, a lot of times people don't. I just like to. I like to ground everything. Personally. First off, let me fix this wiring. Here, this is the ground from the output. I do want to tin that real quickly. That's going to go to the pot. That's good. And then, hang on, I'm going to get a piece of wire to ground the switch to the pot too. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of extra solder on these pots. Just like that. And I mean, you could use the same spot. I like to use different ones. It just keeps it from desoldering something that I already have soldered up, for one thing. Okay. So, it's the switch. I put that there, but before I solder that, I'm going to run the ground to the outlet there, and a ground from here to there. And we'll make sure this guitar is nice and quiet. It should be anyway. I mean, it has humbuckers, you know, but. Alright, let's tin this. So these can actually, they're all going in the same spot. So we can actually kind of put these together. Twist just a little. And I'm going to hit that with the soldering iron because they're all tinned already. And that should just kind of glop them together. I don't know if glop is a word, but I just used it, so. Yeah. By glopping was unsuccessful. There we go. These are all going to go right here. There we go. Good, good, good. Let's ground to here. I'm going to run a ground to there, and yeah, we should be just about done. I have the ground from the bridge. I'm going to go ahead and tin that. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go from here to here, and here to here. We'll use the we'll put the we'll go ahead and ground the bridge to this first pot too. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's all going to be the same pretty much. So let's see, that should work right there. And let me tin this and we'll finish up this grounding. Okay. Turn this off. So that should be done. Things grounded. All that remains is to see if everything's working. So, first things first, let's plug it in and see if we're getting sound. Hang tight. Okay, so we're plugged up. Both pickups. Just one. Just the rhythm. All right, let's make sure. Volume's working. Tone's working. Volume's working. Tone's working. All right. That's what I want. Now let's I'm going to get out the multimeter and kind of see just exactly what these read. I have no idea. Okay, so let's see what these read. $835 in the bridge, $793 in the neck, and 407 together. All right, perfect. So I'm just gonna button this up, and we're done. Hang tight. Let me get all this screwed in. All right, she's all done. So good looking guitar. It's a little dirty. I didn't clean it, but yeah. Please like, subscribe.
Tell your friends. If you need any repair work, reach out. Modifications, etc. Otherwise, rock on, listen to Rifle every day, and love one another.